Welcome to the POMcast with Stephen Willis. Now we're going to do things a little different. We are going to provide an honest look at Ole Miss athletics for the fan, by the fan, and of the fan. Hell be to me. I'm just kidding. Tune in for some Ole Miss sports news. We're going to give it to you straight. Yeah, right now. The POMcast starts now. It happens now. Holy cow. Listen to me. It's starting. Well, it's going to start right about now. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to the POMcast. I am your host, Stephen Willis. Thank you very much for joining me. Let's clear out all these titles, get them out of the way. I am very excited to be here today. We're going to talk a little bit about the BYU home and home for, I believe, 27 and 28. It might be 28 and 29. I think it's 28 and 29. For instance, if Arch Manning was a fifth-year senior, he'd be the quarterback then. But, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. You've seen my shirt. We did that. Tonight, Ole Miss, Kentucky, 8 o'clock. Ole Miss favored by 3 over 8 and 14 Kentucky. Kentucky has won one non-conference game this year. But they are playing a little bit better, and they come into the pavilion. 8 o'clock on ESPN. Ole Miss versus Memphis tonight in baseball. SEC Network Plus. You can catch the first pitch at 4 o'clock. So, again, I am Stephen Willis, and the way you can follow the show is like this. On Twitter, at the Stephen Willis. At the Stephen Willis. That's a good way to follow the show. Facebook.com/POMcast. That's another way to follow the show. And then we're going to get into a little bit of the weird, cool stuff that we're playing around with right now. On YouTube, you can catch us in two places. At Positively Ole Miss for Ole Miss related content. And if you're interested in everything, we also are over at Willis Digital Media. Willis Digital Media. Search it, should come up. If you like Twitch, we are broadcasting at Willis Digital Media. Again, Twitch is Willis Digital Media. WILLIS Digital Media. And that is how you can follow the show. We're going to get into actual podcasts later on. We're going to expand, but we're just basically working on breaking this for the time being and getting it to the right position to where we can do different stuff. We're not going to have Darby McCranie today. Something came up with him yesterday, so we'll have to catch up with him later in the week. I know it says Tuesday and Thursday. Today's Tuesday. Yeah, but, that's a little bit the way it works. Chris Thrasher, we're going to interview him probably tonight if he can. And then we're going to go. This is going to be a weird week. I don't know how this is going to go exactly. For my other job, I have training Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and it's right during the POMcast time. So I'm going to have to be extremely flexible, and if we do interviews and stuff, we might just throw it on the air, do like 10-minute interviews or something like that. Let's see, what else is happening news-wise? I think we might have a special guest for the instant reaction show for one of the baseball games. We're either going to do it tonight or tomorrow. I think it's going to be tomorrow. I'm not sure, the JSU game. Stick around for that. In the name of free content, we're trying to basically network together groups of people that are separately providing free content to compete with the broader audience that are actually charging you money for the content. Again, our goal is an extremely high-level product, not going to cost you a dime. That's just the way we want to do this. Ole Miss versus Kentucky tonight. Let's see. I guess we can start on that. Also, a little bit after we get done with the break, I'm going to talk a little bit about the birds down here at the Palatial Central Florida studio. They come in like flocks of 30, 35. I think they're called Florida chickens. but they're actually ibises, and also herons are in the neighborhood. So you'll just be going for a walk, and there's a 4-foot bird standing up. It is very off-putting the first time you do it. It's very cool to see. It's all naturey and things like that, but it's very cool to see. But they call them the ibises Florida chickens because they just fly in, land in your yard, and they're just like chickens looking for insects, pecking the ground and everything. And their bill is like curved, so they can get in and root around the sand because we have very sandy soil down here. I did an 8-foot grounding rod for my lanai and put it in the ground using just my hands. In Tennessee, it would have required a jackhammer to get it in the ground. Here, I did it with my bare hands, 8 feet. Just put it straight down in. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so the ibises and everything, the Florida chickens are great. There's also egrets and things like down here. And there's a lot of what you would associate with seabirds, as you can imagine, down here. And it's really cool to see when you go on your walks. I do my walk every morning, at about 7 o'clock in the morning. That'd be about 6 o'clock Central your time. So we're a little bit early risers, early bird gets the worm type people around here. But yeah, those birds are very interesting. They're off-putting. It feels like you're in a zoo or something because you're not used to seeing them. Because remember, I'm from South Mississippi, but when I say South Mississippi, I mean south of Jackson, not like south of Hattiesburg, which is actually 2 different states if you grow up in them. And then I moved to Tennessee. Now, another thing down here is apparently bald eagles are fairly prevalent. I've never seen in the wild a bald eagle. I want to see a bald eagle. I want to see a giant bird just flying about. And it's going to be cool. I mean, I'm not exactly a bird watcher or anything like that, but it's just interesting. Over the course of 3 months, they just pop up into this area, into what you want to do. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, I digress. Tonight, the Kentucky Wildcats go to the Pavilion and play the Ole Miss Rebels. Ole Miss is favored by 3. Kentucky's leader in scoring scores about 12 points a game. Their leader in rebounds scores about, gets about 6.8. Their leading assist guy is at 3.2, and his turnovers is at 2.2. So they kind of compare favorably with their leaders with Ole Miss. Devontae Shuler's averaging 16 a game. Free throw percentage is almost identical. Our leading rebounder is about 6. I'm telling you, Luis Rodriguez is a quiet pick to break out next year. I mean, really break out. I definitely hate, but I would have loved to have seen him at this point if he had not injured his foot last year. He has a chance to be special, tenacious. He already has Jason Smith-like qualities about him, and it is going to be quite fun. Devontae Shuler is the leading assist man for us. He's doing 3.3 and turning over 2.5. Jarkel Joyner, like we said, every time we watch the game, we bring it up. If Jarkel Joyner can learn to be as consistent a 1.5 foot back as he is where he is, there's a chance this could be very special for him. And he could do quite well in that scenario. But Kentucky is always going to be athletic. They're always going to be long. The difference for them this year is they don't have the shot makers. So they'll do a little bit inside. They have a couple of springy guys up around the boards, and they'll try to just dominate you inside. But in modern basketball, that doesn't necessarily work with the 3 and layup philosophy of basketball. A team like Alabama can get away from you in a hurry if you're trying to beat them with 2s and they're hitting 3s. Remember, if they hit 2 threes down the court, you've got to go 3 for 3 just to keep up. If they make another one, do it again. They go 4 for 6 on trips from 3. All of a sudden, you have to score all 6, and you can see how the game can get away from you doing that. So, Kentucky kind of fell into that trap. It was one of those years. They always have a bunch of one and done guys. Every now and then, you're going to get it wrong, and that's what they did. They, chemistry problems, the COVID stuff. You don't have the time to gel together in the off season because of COVID. And then you just get put in there and like 2 weeks of practice, let's start playing the games. And of course they go 1-6. It's a bunch of true freshmen against college kids that have a rapport already, and they just weren't there. And so, they are playing better now because they're growing into each other, and that a little bit of that rapport that they would have had by the beginning of November, they're finally getting it now, but it's just too little too late for them. So, but expect a long, athletic, tenacious defensive team that wants to run. That is Kentucky, and they're going to play the inside game, and they struggle basically from 3. They have trouble making shots. That problem is a lot like us, and whenever we play teams that play that way, we play very well. We would be a top 2 or 3 team if everybody in the SEC played that way. Because Romello White is a dominant big man in the post. Devontae Shuler does a good job. He's streaky, like we said. He can either elevate or devalue your performance, but it's not consistent that you can count on in a straight line. Jarkel Joyner has a fantastic mid-range game. Best free throw shooter. And then you have Elrod, who's like the Jason Smith of the team. And you take KJ, who's the top of that 1-3-1, always seemingly makes a play. Now, granted, he's going to have an offensive foul every game. I mean, that's just part of it at this point. But he's a great player. He does what he has to do, and he's kind of an energy guy to go with Elrod on this team. Like, there's a toughness, and you get Romello, and he's just physical. And even though you expect Romello to play above the rim and hard, he's really Dwayne Curtis with the way he plays. So you can see that going through. And Deshaun Ruffin is coming into a team that is going to be able to go forward. They're in a good position. I think KJ is going to be back. Elrod's going to be back. Jarkel's going to be back. So you're looking at Deshaun Ruffin, Matthew Morrell in the backcourt, and all of a sudden the backcourt is young, but it's extremely talented. And you can see the intensity and the want-to lights coming on for Matthew Morrell. The shots aren't falling yet, but you can see the development of Matthew Morrell. Now, the big guys, they're going to have to play, KJ and all those guys. Sammy Hunter needs to step up next year because Romello White will be gone. All right, we're going to take a short break because we like short breaks and not long breaks. When we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about the baseball series and what we want to do at Positively Ole Miss. Stick around. Miss, we're almost done with this break. We'll be back with good information quite soon.
The military has been in every generation of my family, and so has VA. It wasn't easy for my dad after Vietnam, but VA helped him and my mom get the home they'd always wanted. My grandpa's been coming to VA since World War II. They even helped him lay to rest one of his battle buddies from Normandy. And me, I followed in their footsteps and served with pride. And now that I'm out of the military, the GI Bill's helping me with school. Every generation of my family has served, and VA has served us all.
All right. Welcome back to the show. I'm Stephen Willis. Welcome to the POMcast. We're going to do basically a lot of stuff. We're going to have fun. Ole Miss versus Memphis tonight. Baseball is back after they got popped in the mouth a little bit this weekend. Credit, hat tip, whatever you want to do, however you want to put it, to Central Florida for a great performance, especially their pitching staff. They also hit the ball pretty well, so congratulations are in order for them. Tonight, Memphis comes to town. We have a chance to. Now, the weekend series is where you make your hay in baseball. So the weekday games, the midweek games, are always going to be a little bit different. Your starting pitching is going to be developmental. It's always going to be about the developmental in the game. You want kids to grow into those weekend guys. This is where they make their hay. Now, there will be some guys that play every game. I expect Jacob Gonzalez to play most, if not all, every game. When Peyton comes back, I expect him at second. You could see TJ McCants tonight at second base. He was last week against Arkansas State. Tonight could be a game where you could see a kid like John Rice Plumlee or somebody like that, because the lineup is perfectly positioned for developmental, because this is about developing a program, not necessarily a season. And that's kind of my mindset in all the sports, is developing a program and not a season, and that even includes football. For sometimes people do not like my takes because of that, and that's fine. You can do what you want to do. You can see it how you want to see it, and you can make every game life or death if you choose to. I mean, that's your right. I am not going to do that. Everything is about a program to me, and everything is about making everything a little bit better. You see a step in the third quarter against Arkansas, your thought is, how will that step and that position doing that thing go the next week? And I am more concerned about recruiting for that position in the future. That just shows a little bit of the difference of opinion when it comes to football. I've always been in the program mindset, even back when I was in the military and stuff, even before I worked at Ole Miss for the football team. It was all about the program, and especially once I got inside, it really became about the program. Everything is not viewed in a vacuum anymore for me. That's the way I look at this. And when I left Ole Miss, I went to Rivals Yahoo and did recruiting. So I saw the other side of that. So I understand all sides of recruiting, what goes on inside the building, what goes on outside of the building, what goes on with the kids. It's all sides that I've seen up close and personal. And doing that gives you an idea of, different types of personalities that would fit on the Ole Miss team that sits now, and where they're coming from and stuff like that. It turns into a giant calculus problem. And, Tyler Siskey, as he proved in 2019, was very good at it. He gets all the credit in the world for it, and he did a heck of a job there. But Lane Kiffin, as you can see as well, knows a good bit of it as well. You can see that build that happened in this year's recruiting class and the stuff that they're going to recruit to next year's recruiting class. They're going to hit an extremely high level. Kids like Tywon Malone and Tysheem Johnson, I'm just looking all kinds of forward to those guys. Those are special type players that, let's see, what's the way I put it? They're the type players that only came to Ole Miss in 2013. Now, everybody's like, hey, okay, we had a really great recruiting class in 2016. And we did. It was fun. But it wasn't the 2013 class as far as the top-heavy guys. Tysheem Johnson and Tywon Malone are Laquan Treadwell and Robert Kimdichie type players. Period. Don't want to hear anything else. Naysayers on that are just looking at it, just trying to protect themselves. There's a group of people out there that I don't know if they can't handle rejection, they don't want to. I don't know. So they naysay on everything, so they're pleasantly surprised or whatever. And it just doesn't work. It's stuff like this you need to kind of be a grown-up about and understand the totality of the situation. You have an 18-year-old kid. There's 100 kids in 4 classes. About half of those are going to turn out to get major playing time over the course of 4 years. The number below that, about a quarter of them are going to make your starting lineup. And if you have a good program, you're hitting on about 35 to 40. So you're too deep. You have some star players and you're too big. Now, if you're in Alabama, you have 60 good players, but that's not the point. If you can understand that, it affects the way that you go into recruiting. I don't even know how we got down this rabbit hole, but I just really enjoy talking about recruiting and the little minutia aspects of it. Now, I'm not going to be here to tell you if a player is going to commit to Ole Miss yet. No. But I will tell you, I'll look at the film, let's say of Gavin Wimsatt, and look at his huddle video. That's completely free to watch, by the way. And you can see flashes. And that's what you want from high school video. You don't want to see a high school video where a kid dominates every play. Because then you have to start worrying about the competition. Then you have to start worrying about really how good is the kid and things like that. But I want a kid that flashes special things. Go back and look at Tawan Malone. Go back and look at Tysheem Johnson. You'll get an idea what I'm talking about. They just flash. Running back, punt return. Tysheem Johnson, there could be 4 guys with an angle on him and they don't catch him. Stuff like that. Because my motto and the way that I looked at high school kids whenever I was doing recruiting, it was real simple. When I watch a game, I don't even want to know the number of the person I'm there to cover. I don't want to know anything. I want him to pop out. If he doesn't, and in the middle of the first quarter I'm in the program trying to find that kid, that's a problem. But if he flashes out, he should be the best player on that team. He should pop off the film. He should pop off the field if you're doing it live. He should be the guy. He should be the alpha. If he's not, that's a problem. So that's the type of kid that you want to recruit. Because those are also the type of kid that when he gets in Vaught-Hemingway Stadium when the lights come on is not going to freak out. Because he's always been the dominant guy. Now you get 100 of those, like I said before, half of them aren't really going to pan out. But if you do that, it's going to increase your opportunity of growing that number from 30 to 40. And that is the difference between having no depth and a solid 2 deep. And if you can get a solid 2 deep, you can compete in this league. It's like I tell people all the time when it comes to recruiting. You need 2 classes. 2 legit classes. And you're an 8 or 9 win team. You're not national championship worthy. That's not what I'm saying. But you're not going to fall off the table. We were going 4 and 8 because 2017, 2018, 2019 was the freshman. 2016 all transferred away. You had 3 classes that were broken. And then that 2019 class was so young. Now they're growing and more classes are coming in behind them. Now the 2020 class, it's going to be weird because that was a transition class, but you still have that 2019 class that should be a junior. That's year 3 right now, and then year 4. So fill in behind them, you have a chance to make a run. So two classes are necessary for respectability. 3 classes are necessary to really make a run. We're talking to year 6 at that point. And if you get all 4, then you're in rarefied air. You're talking playoff, Alabama, Clemson. Those guys, they always hit on their recruiting class because they can cherry pick who they want. The important thing is not to miss. Get the people that are high on your list and just start stacking classes. That's as fast as you can go. And I'm not talking about start stacking top 5 classes or top 10 classes. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying start stacking top 20 classes. Those guys, if you hit, will make all the difference in the world. You can make a run with 4 top 20 classes if all 4 of them you evaluate properly. These things are being ranked by people that don't understand